Hey, in this video I'll be talking about why the 7 Deadly Sins was maybe not as bad, maybe, as people remember, maybe. I'll only be talking about the anime, so I won't be talking about the movies or the sequel series Fortnite of the Apocalypse, only the 7 Deadly Sins anime. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, to start this video on a lighter note, I want to name some good things about the series. Firstly, the adventure aspect is amazing. The entire reason I loved the 7 Deadly Sins so much was because of the adventure aspect. You could say the adventure aspect is just the world building, so what I mean by adventure is really the world building, which the author does great. Like when I was first watching the anime, I was finishing up season 1 and I was thinking, man, the author really messed up. We have already found 6 of the 7 Deadly Sins, and there are 3 more seasons left. I wonder how the author will manage to stretch out finding the last 7 Deadly Sin for 3 seasons. Well, the last 7 Deadly Sin, Escanor, was revealed early in season 2. Then I was wondering, where will the author go from here? And, well, let's say there was more than enough to write about. But that was when I started thinking the power scaling and actual story writing went downhill. Pretty much after season 2 ended, which just happened to be when A1 Studios stopped working on the 7 Deadly Sins, which was already a huge controversy in and of itself, although at the time I didn't really notice or care because at the time I had low standards because I was still new to anime. I'm sure if I went back now and watched it, I would see the huge drop, but in my memory, it wasn't half bad. On average, of course, there were moments that were just terrible. There were times when it got bad, but on average, it wasn't that bad. Which, speaking of animation, season 1 and 2, aka A1 Studios 7 Deadly Sins, was incredible. Zero problems or complaints. I think the main character isn't bad too. Now, hear me out. There is context to this panel that makes it better, but out of context, this is just horrible. Meliodas is funny and strong, and I just like Meliodas as a character. I think the fights overall are very good as well, especially Meliodas versus the 10 Commandments. That fight single-handedly made the 7 Deadly Sins my favorite anime for like 3 months, before Black Clover took that role for like 3 years or something. I rewatched that fight like, probably not even kidding, like 20 times over the years. That fight was incredible. I also think the sidecasts are pretty good. I especially really like Escanor and Ban from the sidecast. The rest, not as much, but those two I like especially much. And then the rest of them are just good. That is, if my memory serves me justice. Now, to move on to the bad of the 7 Deadly Sins. From compilations I've seen online, the season 3 animation was terrible some of the time, with some frames even looking horrible. This panel out of context is really bad and P3 the Ophelia, but with context, it isn't that bad. The power scaling after season 3 is actually terrible. Like some of the time, I don't even know what's happening anymore. You can watch this funny video about power scaling. I recommend you do because it's funny and accurate. I will have it linked in the description below. Also, what actually happens in the story after like season 3? Like I feel like it just got off track at some point and it never got back on track. Like what is with this guy Estarossa? This guy is a demon but actually an archangel because Gothard did something 3,000 fucking years ago. That's just bad writing, I'm sorry. This was in no way foreshadowed, I think. Also, while we're at it, I didn't really like the whole angels and devils agenda. Like, I liked where the story was headed way more towards the start, where there were just adventures to find the other 7 Deadly Sins and having cool fights and a lot of fun moments with the cast. Like, the idea of the 10 Commandments were actually a somewhat good idea, but they took the wrong approach with it. Here, I had an idea. I think it's kinda ass, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Imagine if they made them slightly weaker than the opposing 7 Deadly Sins member they were fighting against, but made them extremely experienced in some area. Let's say one of them would be amazing at MMA. If they got attacked, they could do whatever the fuck this is and deflect their attack and counter attack right after. Like, as I already said, I don't know if that's an actually good idea, but it's an idea I had while writing the script for this video. Another bad thing that I think people forget about is that the characters, just like in One Piece, revive from the dead. The first example that comes to mind is Hawk. At the end of season 1, Hawk sacrifices himself, but survives because I'm just tough? Like, what? What kind of excuse is that? Not to mention Meliodas, who's died on multiple occasions, but revived because of that curse that's placed on him. Which I guess kind of makes sense when you have that factor. But when you have that factor, all stakes are removed pretty much. We have Ban on the team, who's literally immortal. Meliodas, who's also immortal, or more accurately, he just can't die. And Gothard, who's a fucking doll and pretty much can recover from all blows, apart from, I guess, if he's just fully destroyed in one attack. And more that I probably forgot. When you have them, it's hard to feel suspense and stakes peace at the current battle, knowing that a good part of the team will just not die. Alright, I think that's all I have to ramble about the 7 deadly sins for now. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you've watched this far, I know you like the 7 deadly sins. And if you do like the 7 deadly sins, I know there's a good chance that you also liked Black Clover. So here's another video about Black Clover that I made recently. And once again, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!